Hi guys, welcome to episode 21, I believe, of Keeping Up with Conspicuous. It is another virtual one today, partly because Luce is away in Dubai and I'm off this afternoon, so unlucky. But today we have a really interesting episode. We've got Matt on from the US team and we've got Vanessa, head of HR at Conspicuous. So thank you guys for joining me today. Matt, I want to just start by talking about you. Like, what do you do at Conspicuous? Who are you? What's your background? Tell us a little, please.
All right, then. Yeah, so my name's Matt, obviously. I've been in the recruitment space for coming up to 2 years now. I previously done sales, so never done recruitment before. And yeah, I'm part of the US team. With regards to recruitment, I enjoy it a lot more than sales, to be honest with you. I
Why?
used to do a lot of cold calling. There's still cold calling in recruitment, but I used to have to do about 100 calls a day, so it's slightly different to what we do now with
That's a
regards to
lot.
business
Yeah.
development. So yeah.
Vanessa, how would you describe Matt in 3 words?
He listens. That's one thing with Matt. He listens. He takes things on board. 3 words. I'm not too sure whether I could describe him in 3 words, to be honest. But he's really keen to learn. Really listens, and I think he really wants to do a job well.
Yeah.
He's still getting to grips with listening to his gut. But generally, if he listens to his gut, he usually finds he's right.
I like that. And I mean, Matt, so obviously I work.
Wait, Tyler. How would you describe me in 3 words? Huh?
Good one.
Well, I would describe the US team in general as more competitive than the UK team and probably more resilient just because the hours you work. Like, I feel like that's really hard to deal with it. And then probably I'd say really positive. I feel like you bring a good energy into the office, which is important in a recruitment job. So yeah, I feel like I know you like working remotely, but having you in the office is good for the environment. It's fun. But so I work on the UK team, you work on the US team. Now, can you introduce us to sort of like the US market? What space do you work in the US market, and how have you been finding the market at the moment?
So, with regards to what space, we do predominantly Microsoft Dynamics, but in the US, we do branch out a bit. So we do any ERP, any CRM. We tend to start off recruiting for Microsoft Dynamics, and then we pretty much do any roles. I know we're niche, we're specialists in Dynamics, but we can do any form of recruitment. I don't like to blow our own trumpet, but we're pretty good at our job, especially at Conspicuous. We've got loads of years of experience, senior members of the team, and we all work each other's roles. So as much as we are very competitive in the US side of things, we do work as a team quite well.
100%.
So
and a bit of competitiveness is good, right, Vanessa?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you've got to have some competitiveness within sales. I mean, that's just the nature of the game, I think. And I think being slightly competitive, not overly, builds and brings up morale, I think, in the team, because it's good seeing, I beat you this month.
Definitely.
I think that's key.
And I mean, I don't know about you, Matt, but the market in the UK side this year has been pretty, how do I say this in a non-swear word, not great. But basically, I don't know, we've been seeing clients not really be looking for people that are looking to cross-train into Dynamics or ERPs. They've not really been looking for junior individuals, very much sort of senior lead people. I mean, hasn't been loads of roles. How have you seen the market play out in the US?
Yeah, so I'm just going from when I first started last year. The market was great for me, to be honest with you. There was a lot more jobs and there was a little bit more flex. This year has been not so great. Obviously, we still made placements. There's still roles out there, but it's really heating up at the moment. We've got 5 or 6 BC positions on at the moment. So personally, for me, the last 4 or 5 months have been a lot better than the first.
Yeah, we've been seeing that as well, Vanessa, haven't we, in the UK side?
Yeah, definitely. We can see the market changing, which is really good, because this year has been very, very hard, as it has been for all recruitment in general, I think.
Definitely. I mean, I've seen like a massive shift as well, because I've been here, I'll be been here 3 years next September, so 2 and a bit years. And when I first joined, it was like candidates, very candidate driven. I want more money. I'm going to take this counter offer. Very, very candidate driven. And now this year, maybe back end of 2022 as well, I've seen like clients kind of take it back, and it's now like, right, no longer candidate driven. We're being really strict on what we want. And if you don't like it, get out. But no, I'm joking. But yeah, so have you seen that as well, Matt?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. But yeah, and the candidates now, they're being a little bit more picky, because like you said, it's mainly candidate driven now. Money's not just the only thing nowadays. It's culture and things of that nature. So there's not enough candidates out there. But that sounds weird. There's not enough candidates for the positions we have available at the moment. But things should change in the coming months, I think. So yeah.
And if you don't have candidates for a role that you're working with a client, how do you manage that with a client? What do you do from an account management side?
Normally on BD, I like to. So when I have my first client call, I like to do a search in the background while I'm on the phone to them. So
really, oh wow.
Yeah. So when they have certain requirements, I will say to them, look, I've just done a search for our database, and I can tell you right now, this is how many candidates have shown up on LinkedIn. So I'm open and honest with them from the get-go. So if I'm honest with them, I tell them to change their not change their requirements, but I say from the get-go, if we put everything that you're looking for in our search on our database on LinkedIn, there's only this amount of candidates. And who's to say?
We can't argue with it. It's like evidence.
Who's to say?
I think Matt's right there. I think when clients come to us to help them with their recruitment, it's our job. That's what they're paying us for, is to find the right person for their role, but also to advise them on the market and to let them know in real terms, what they're going to get for the salary that they're providing. And sometimes they've just got to go down on some of their requirements, their essential requirements. It is sometimes looking for a needle in a haystack, and if we're really honest with clients, I think the majority of them respect us for that. We're not just trying to get any candidate in the door. We want to find the right candidate, and we want to find the right role for that candidate, because that's their career. So we want to make sure we get that right.
Exactly. I agree as well. And I mean, notice periods. US is a bit different, isn't it? Because candidates in the UK, there's like 50% are on 4 weeks a month, and then other 50% are on 3-month notice periods. Is that, how does it work in the US?
So it can vary. To be fair, we tend to find that it's 2 weeks is probably the most they're asked to give. Sometimes they can get out of it in a week. There's no clear structure, but they like to give 2 weeks.
I wonder why it's 3 months and then 2 weeks, because there are quite a lot of similarities between the markets in general, but then notice periods I find are just so different. I
think the whole recruitment side of things, I'm sure Matt will agree, is very different to the UK. Notice period is very different. Salaries are obviously higher. The health benefits is key in the US. The 401k, which I think is full healthcare. Am I right, Matt, on that?
Yeah.
That's really key.
And dental. So it benefits wise, it's a lot different, to be honest with you. And it works out better for us in the US team, because if it's only 2 weeks, that means they start sooner. And then a lot of things a lot of things can go wrong for you if it's
Yeah,
through
yeah,
them.
they can. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw it because we do a lot of recruitment in Malta on this side and in Europe, and because of Russia and Ukraine, and then also the more recent issues elsewhere, people have just been on 3-month notice periods, and all of this stuff has happened, and they're like, actually, we don't want to relocate, which is absolutely fair enough, but because it's such a long period of time, like you said, there's things that come up in the meantime that weren't a thing. Okay, and what about current? Is there any direction you see yourself or the US market going in?
I've just, like I said previously, I can see it heating up just in the end of November and December alone in the US team. We've got a lot more roles in. And having calls with some of my clients that I'm currently representing at the moment, they all get their budget in January, don't it? So that's pretty much what happens in recruitment. So in January, and I've got a lot of calls set up to go through their budget and then hopefully get some new exciting positions in. So it's definitely heating up, and which is great news for everyone because this year's not been so great, especially the beginning of the year. So fingers crossed, we can all hope that there'll be a lot of new roles coming in the coming weeks.
What about counter offers? Have you had any issues with counter offers this year?
Yes, I have. To be honest with you, I had a woman look for a new position, and she was looking because she felt underpaid and underloved. That was her main concerns, and she didn't really speak to. I'll always advise people before they start to look for a new job to reach out to their current employer, because if you feel underpaid and underloved, just let them know. Most of the time, they will be able to do something about it. But it just happens that this person, she managed to get to the offer stage. She let her current employer know, and then they came in with a massive pay rise, to be honest with you. So she wasn't really looking to leave. She just felt underpaid. So
that's
it's
something.
annoying when it happens, but sometimes
something on the back of that can be said that I think, 90% of the time when candidates are counter offered, they accept, they're generally looking in 6 months' time, because the real reasons for leaving that company isn't just always about money. I think they feel that money's going to solve everything, but actually it doesn't. The other problems are still there.
Something I'm trying to really focus on is having candidates that I've got an offer for and they've taken a counter offer, is having, like, breaking down the barrier of them feeling like they can't come back to me in 6 months because maybe there's some stigma around being embarrassed. But I feel like there shouldn't be embarrassment. Like, at the end of the day, I want candidates to feel happy to come back to me. And I think it's a difficult, like, how do you do that other than, like, if you need anything, like, please don't. But I have noticed a couple of candidates previously I've worked with have taken a counter offer, and then, as you say, both of you, 6 months later, they're looking, and it's just trying to break down that barrier of getting them to come back to you.
I think we're really honest. We don't take it personally. At the end of the day, it's somebody's career, so we want what's best for the candidate, also what's best for the client, obviously. And if it doesn't work out, they should come back to us. That there's no problem with that. That's
100% agree. Yeah.
So you come in, you start your day, you open your laptop, Matt. Do you have sort of a structure to your day, or do you write, like, how do you do your day? How do you go back?
I do have a structure, to be fair, because there's a time difference. Eastern 5 hours behind us. I normally start my day with doing BD, business development. So I'll look on LinkedIn or Indeed and look for some potential clients to reach out to. I just find that's a better structure to my day. So if I do that for an hour or 2 hours, and then when it comes time for me to start calling people, I've got my BD out of the way, and I can just concentrate on reaching out to candidates and hopefully finding them a good position. How about you?
So normally I'll come in, I'll write my to-do list the night before, and then I always do the first things I do, check applicants, and then flag up applicants to call during the day, save searches on LinkedIn, Indeed. I don't really use CV Library anymore to source candidates. The reason being is I'm seeing a lot of crossover on Indeed and LinkedIn anyway. And I know you don't have it. I don't think you have it in the US anyway. But anyway, I use Indeed and LinkedIn mainly. And then other than that, BD is something I fit in when I can. I don't know, maybe it's because of obviously you have time where like clients and candidates aren't responding to you, whereas I get in and I'm like, my phone's ringing from 9 a.m. I'm like, please give me a minute. But yeah, I don't know. I just usually from about 4 o'clock onwards, I can do BD. That's usually when I have time. What's your approach to BD then?
So my approach is I've been trying something different, and I'm seeming to get quite a lot of nibbles now. So I would tend to find potential candidates from our database and normally blank out their resume. For people that don't know, blanking out resumes, we pretty much take all their best bits from their resume and condense it into a summary and then send it out. So I'm finding that a lot of clients, they're being quite picky this year. So you need to get pretty much straight to the point. Tell them that you've got this candidate, tell them their key points, and then hopefully send that across, because this person is actively looking for a new position and they fit all your requirements. So tell them that this person's looking.
I think it's key that we're proactive recruiters and not reactive. You know, we're here to find candidates their new role. We're here to help clients fill their vacancies. So if when we get candidates, we should be taking them to market. We should be telling our clients who we have. You know, and that's us doing the best we can by our candidates and also by our clients, because we know our clients, we know what they're looking for.
Yeah. I think some similarities between my account management and yours, from what I've heard in the office anyway, Matt, is I feel like we're both not afraid to say what we think is best or to stand up for ourselves. And I remember when I first joined, if I didn't think something was going to go a certain way, or I felt like I couldn't push back on a client. But now I'm like, right, at the end of the day, I don't want to waste anyone's time here. Like, I'm going to be honest. So what's the situation where you've had to push back on a client before?
I'll totally agree with you. So at the beginning, I would have took a lot more. I don't want to swear, a lot more bad stuff. So them not being responsive, I send them loads of candidates across and then not getting any feedback from them. Yeah, BS. Yeah. So I would have took a lot more BS. But now, because our time is quite precious and we do have loads of clients and we've got to speak to quite a lot of candidates, if they're not getting back to me, I will try and jump on a Teams call straight away. And if it goes a couple of weeks where I'm not getting any response, I'd rather part ways with the client instead of just keeping someone that's going to waste time. It works both ways. We're reaching out to these candidates, we're screening them, we're sending their information across to them. If they can't be bothered to reply back to us, then it's not worth our time and it's not worth their time. So I've got to that point now. I've only been doing it 2 years that if a candidate's wasting my time, then I'm not going to work with them. I know it sounds harsh and it sounds bad.
Ruthless.
But
that's what you've got to be like now.
I think clients come to us and we need to be advising them of that, because some clients won't be aware of that. They won't be aware of how fast the market moves, and that candidates have other things going on, which they do.
That needs to be done in the initial first call now, doesn't it?
And I think, it does, absolutely. And I think also clients we need to be advising clients of this, because eventually, if that keeps happening, they get a bad name for themselves. So every time you talk to a candidate, they say, "Oh, I don't want to work there because they don't come back with feedback." And I think it's our job to be advising the client of that. And as long as we're doing that, that's us doing our job by the client. And
they can lose out on the candidates as well, can't they? If they take too long, most of these candidates are actively interviewing elsewhere. So you could come back in 2 weeks and this candidate's already gone in place somewhere else, took a different offer. So it's always good to be, I don't want to rush people's processes, but if on our initial first call, if we can get a structure on your interview process, And just if you can respond to us when you send candidates, that would be greatly appreciated, because it helps both of us and it speeds up the process, and you won't miss out on excellent candidates. So that's just my point of view.
And I think sometimes as well, I don't think people realise how much effort we put in to sending a candidate across and speaking to that candidate. And I think sometimes, as long as we're not throwing 100,000 CVs at them and we're listening to what the client is saying,
and that's something we don't do. We do not work like that. We're really consultative, so we really get to understand our candidates' needs and our clients' needs, and hopefully that matches.
Yeah, that's something I think I'm definitely, and hopefully it's the same for you, Matt. Like, I've always been proud of how good of a job Conspicuous actually do. Like, when you saying about how if a client, you start working dynamics roles and they just give you the others, I have that with some of my clients, and it's like, just remind us, what do you specialize in? And I'm like, look, we do dynamics, but if I'm going to be honest with you, we're really just really good. And I say, we just listen. We have a smaller team, so communication is really good. And if you give us a role, as long as it's not like I don't know, something to do with planes, like what are those engineers called? Like aerospace engineers or something. If it's something like that, I don't know. But anything else, like, we're pretty good at. Well, thank you so much for both being on the podcast. I think it was really exciting to hear more about US side of things, the market, account management on your end, things like that. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
And we will see you all next week for a really special episode with a recruiter insider who we're super excited to have Justin on the podcast. So keep your eye out for that one, and it'll be live on LinkedIn as well at 10:30. So thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.